Traditional baby girl names have been trending for decades now in Germany, and since 1989, the trend in the former GDR has followed suit. Before the wall came down, it was fashionable in the GDR to afford children exotic names, thus perhaps making up for the travel restrictions the average citizen faced. French names trended as well as American ones, from Chantal and Jacqueline through to Mandy and Peggy. On the other side of the border, they too were more experimental than in the past. One example that comes to mind is the name Nena, which became popular after the release of the song 99 Red Balloons. Not only can baby names be influenced by history, tradition or pop culture, they can even follow political developments. For example, first hour refugees of 2015 and 16 were known to name their first German-born baby girl Angela, as a tribute to Mrs. Merkel. Before we look at the names that are estimated to be the most popular in 2024, let's take a look back through recent history, starting in the decade of excess, the 1980s. The early 80s were characterized by the dominance of Christina, Stephanie and Sabrina, while during the second half of the decade, Katharina took the top spot for 4 consecutive years. Shorter names such as Julia, Zara and Anna were also popular too. After the wall fell, the 90s began with Lisa holding the top spot for 4 years, followed by Marie and Maria for an astonishing 13 years. Names beginning with L were strong throughout the late 90s and early noughties, such as Laura, Lia, Lena and Leonie. After rising through the ranks in the early 90s, 2008 saw Sophie and Sophia finally top the chart and begin a 6-year reign from 2010 onwards. Names featuring an M were strong throughout this period, including the aforementioned Marie and Maria alongside Mia, Emma and Emilia. Marie returned to take the top spot for another 3 years until 2019, when the names we will now discuss began topping the charts. Emilia comes from the Latin word amulus, which means imitation or emulating. This is the root behind the Roman patrician name Aemilia, and the name of the Roman emperor Marcus Aemilius Aemilianus, who ruled for 3 months in the year 253. The popularity of Emilia is thought to be a result of the meteoric rise of the actress Emilia Clarke after her appearance in Game of Thrones in 2011. In fact, it takes just 2 years for Emilia to enter the top 10 and slowly work its way up the ranks until 2020, where it jumps from 4th place to 1st place. Coincidentally, 2020 was the year after the fantasy series concluded, proving that, if anything, fans of high-budget fantasy are very forgiving, as, despite the reaction to the series finale, Emilia has topped the list every year since the show ended. It's also predicted to become the most popular name in 2024. The name Emma is thought to be a shortened form of Ermengarde or Ermentrude, which are very, very old Germanic names that date back to the Frankish Empire. The root word they descend from is Ermenas, which means whole or all-encompassing. This root managed to survive and evolve in the Nordic languages to Jormung, forming part of the name Jormungandr, the world-sized sea serpent which Thor will fight to the death during Ragnarok. Back in the real world, there seems to be a trend of international versions of names taking precedence over the native form. Emma had some popularity in the 1890s, with the poet Christian Morgenstern remarking that all seagulls look as though their name were Emma. Shortly after, Irma, the German version, enjoyed a period of popularity in the early 1900s. Both names were dormant until 2009, when Emma entered the top 10 in 8th place, held its position mid-table until it leapt to 2nd place in 2019. Since then, it has continued to be in the top 5. The name's enduring popularity coincides with the fact that today's young parents grew up in the era of Harry Potter, and subsequently Emma Watson becoming a household name. Her active interest in women's rights alongside her remarkable career could very well be the reason that Emma is predicted to take 2nd place in 2024. The name Hannah comes from Hebrew. The original root meant favor or grace, and today can be found in several flavors: Hannah without the H, Hannah without the H and one N, or Chana. The Greek descendant gave us Anna, which in turn gave us Anne and Ann, which in turn gave us the Spanish diminutive Anita. As with Emma, the native German version of Hannah, which omits the H, isn't as popular as the international version, which retains it. Perhaps Germany's fondness for order, exemplified in the expression Ordnung muss sein, manifests in an inclination towards palindromes. Hannah first appeared in the top 10 in 2007, sat comfortably in the lower half of the top 10 until 2019, when it suddenly jumped from 7th place to 1st place. Since then, it's been in the top 5 and is predicted to take 3rd place in 2024.